where we're going to go talk about the other parts of what it means to build a physical body, so that we can spend as much time as possible doing that thing and as little time as possible doing the wrong things. And we want to be able to avoid injuries, and we want to do only the things that is necessary and that we have time to do, because we all know time is not something we have too much of. I think we all can agree on that.
Yeah, true.
So last week we talked about how important it is to raise your physical threshold and all the benefits that happens with that. All the, keeping injuries away, being able to do all the adventures of life and just enjoying it more. We talk about what's functional, and today we're going to talk about a few of the basic philosophies. We're talking about why robustness is so important. We're going to do a little bit of the only two things we actually need to practice and train to build that physically strong body. Like, we can make it super complex, but it all comes down to two major things that we need to practice, and that is the two big predictors of longevity and health and athletic success. So if you just do these two things, we will have 80% of the benefits. And then you can kind of explore within those two arenas or within those two concepts however you want, as long as you keep moving within those things. So, and I hopefully that will become clear in a little bit. But I've tried to take some really complex topics and some really complex things and make them as simple as possible. And I'm drawing experience from, I guess, the 12 years of being a trainer in the army and training, I don't know, hundreds, maybe even thousands at this point, from, going absolutely civilian to be able to, carry the load, carry weapons, and do that without injury. And so I'm taking the experience from that, and I'm taking the latest, I would say, scientific data, which is the most fun thing, because the latest data and the latest science basically said, whatever you guys were doing in the 80s, that still counts. That's the we've had all these trends come and go, but the foundations have stayed the same, big surprise. So we're going to talk about foundations, and hopefully I've been able to make them as simple as possible so you can implement them directly. So every time you're wondering, what the heck should I do? Or is this a good thing for me? You have some type of standard to evaluate it against, so you're doing good stuff. Right? Sounds good?
Yep.
Perfect. Let's see here. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is the concept, and I think this is maybe one of the most important things. Like, in the things in your life, how important would you guys say health is? Like, being healthy, how important is that? From like 1 to 10.
10.
10. And Robin?
Yeah, 9, 10. Without it, everything else falls apart.
Yeah, exactly.
Or gets so hard that it feels like it's falling apart.
Yeah. And let's see if we can. I'm gonna make myself big here. Let's see if that works. Maybe this one. Ooh, are you guys still with me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Perfect. I just want to make sure I can hear you. Oh no, I'm trying to find myself here. Oh, a lot of things happening. No. Okay, maybe. Okay, here we go. Now I can still hear you and you can see me. And I've drawn this little figure. Okay, so we can all agree that physical activity or being physically strong or being healthy is top priority, right? Okay, so if we have a timeline of things that we need to do, whether it's a day or an hour or a month or whatever, what do we put here? What do we schedule here?
Health. The most important bits in the beginning, because if you leave them to the end, you may run out of time or something else may happen.
Run
Exactly,
out of
right?
energy.
So, yeah, whatever it is. I mean, if we've deemed something to be the most important thing, we want to do that first, because then life just happens, right? Because life happens, you get in a meeting or something happens, or you just didn't find the time, and then by the end of the day you're like, oh, I didn't do that thing. So usually we try to plan the most important thing first. And that's, if you have big goals in your life, you have this huge thing you want to do before you die, then you should probably do them now, because who knows in 10 years if you can do it or not, right? And if you have something important to do this week, you should probably do it on a Monday, because who knows what will happen. And if you have something important to do today, then you should probably do it in the morning, because who knows what will happen the rest of the day. Make sense?
Yeah.
So if this is let's play out that this is a day. Most people do their workouts in the afternoon. So they do the workouts here. And a lot of people struggle with getting here, being super tired, being not having the energy to do it, and then something else happens, right? So this gets pushed forward, and then it gets too late, so it's starting to compete with bedtime, and then we don't do it. Has that ever happened to you guys? I'm sure it happens to me a lot.
Yes.
If I've got a doctor appointment, afternoon and evening workouts are the bits.
Yeah. But if we follow the idea of doing the most important things first, then when should we do the workout?
Morning.
Yeah, actually, we would try to do this thing as early as possible. If we now agree that this is the most important thing long term, right? Because here's the thing, and I think this is so important. This workout is not just a workout. It is the thing that has it's the thing that predicts us living a long and healthy life. We just know that, right? If you are physically strong and you have a high VO₂max and stuff like that, then you will live a long and healthy life. You will be predicted to do that. So, and we all agree that it's one of the most important things. So we should do it first. But as humans, we don't do that because we're humans. But the important thing is here, the workout cannot be done tomorrow. Like there's no, everything else you do in life, or I should say, most other things in life, you can do tomorrow, or you can be more efficient at it. Right. So if you have 100 tasks to do today, then you can be more efficient, and then the task might do half of the time, you know. But a workout, it takes 30 minutes. No, like it's really hard to be more efficient. It just takes 30 minutes. And you can't do double of them tomorrow, because then you might not be, you might be sore, or you might not have the recovered from it or stuff like that. So the workout really is one of those things that I see on a daily basis that needs to be done, because it's one of those things that builds up for the long run. Right? And I think that's the big mistake we do. We take one of the most important things, like long-term most important things, and we do it at the end, and then we struggle getting it done because it competes with everything else. But if we truly said the workout was the most important thing, we would probably schedule it before everything else. We would honor that thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I understand, life is what it is sometimes, but if we're not doing the most important things first, we're making it really hard for us to go where we want to go. So, and I think that's just the mindset I want you guys have going into this, that the first idea that we want to have is important things first. First thing first. And the second thing is, well, what was the second thing? Is the workout can't be moved until tomorrow. It's supposed to say can't be moved, but you can't see that now, I realize, but I'll keep it as a note. So the rule number one, I would say, do the most important things first. And if we think that longevity and health is important to us, then workouts, healthy eating, and all of that should come really early. Like whatever cycle you work on, 24 hours or 12 hours, whatever it is, the most important thing should come early, so we make sure we get it done. The second is that we can't move workouts into the future, right? But we can move tasks into the future and be more efficient, right? If we have a deadline in a week, then we can do double the amount of work tomorrow, or be more efficient and do the same type of work. But workouts can't be moved into the future. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
We can't, we can't do.
Brush my teeth. You can't brush your teeth like 14 times on Sunday afternoon. It has to happen morning and evening daily.
I love that. That's a great analogy, right? Like you can't do two of them tomorrow because it doesn't make any sense. You're clean already. It's like you can't do more clean.
Yeah.
So that's great one. Thank you, Maria. I'll take that one. That's a great one. I love that one. Okay, so I think we set the premises now. And here's the cool thing. I know we all know that workout is important. Everybody knows that. But the one thing that really drove it home for me, which is this is crazy. So it's bad to smoke. We all agree that it's bad to smoke, right? I think so, at least.
Yeah.
This is a cigarette. And it's super bad to smoke in the sense that you will die earlier. So in Sweden, the numbers looks like if you smoke, it's a 60% chance that you will die from smoking, like directly related to smoking. Like your lungs will crash or whatever, right? But here's the crazy part. If you smoke and you work out, these are weights. Let's see, we'll compare it with not smoking, and let's see, not working out. Which one do you think is the most healthy one? Is it smoking and working out, or is it not smoking and not working out? Which one will predict your lifespan to be longer?
I know the answer, so I won't say anything. But yeah.
What do you think,
Because
Robin?
Yeah.
Doctors would say the one with not smoking. My body experience would say the one including the exercise, even with the smoking. But
Yeah.
that's medicine versus my experience.
Yeah, but the thing is, you actually have
your
this. Like,
experience is correct. Yeah.
yeah, your experience is correct. Because if you smoke and you work out, that
And
will
I
predict a
haven't-
longer lifespan than if you don't work out and you don't smoke. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And we know
Yes.
that smoking is so terrible for you.
Yeah.
But we
and I
do know
haven't
that
smoked other negative things, but the exercise makes up for lots of negative things somehow.
yeah, and exercise is so incredibly good for you that even it's even better to smoke and exercise than not exercise. It's just crazy. For me, when I heard that, I'm like, what? And that really puts things into perspective. Like something that it will definitely, or 66% will kill you. If you work out, it's actually better to just, for me, it's mind blowing. So I think that's just such a beautiful stat.
Yeah.
So, and I think the takeaway isn't, of course, to start smoking, but the takeaway is that whatever shitty habits we have, we should work out. You know, whatever life looks like, we should work out also, right? So then the question is, well, what is workout? How do I get those freaking benefits so I can behave like I can do all the bad things but still have a lot of the benefits? I mean, obviously we want to maximize all the good stuff, but we are also human, so we have a bunch of shitty behaviors. That's just part of it, right? And that's where I would say it becomes pretty straightforward. Oh yeah, also one thing. Also one thing I need to say when it comes to, we have all these important tasks we need to do, and therefore exercise gets thrown out the window. Like the beautiful thing with tasks and everything else that we can do it more efficiently, or we can delegate it, or we cannot do it, right? Workouts are really hard to delegate, and they're really hard to be more efficient at. Like a workout takes the time it takes, and you can't delegate it. It's up to you to do. Okay, here we go. So if we now have realized that, also let me know if you can't see the pen here. Maybe a better one. Yeah, okay. So health and longevity and athletic success as our goal, that's where we want to strive towards. Then the question, of course, becomes, well, what the heck? And we know that workout really improves that, right? So then what the heck is a workout? That's the question. Like what type of activities moves us here? Because you look online and there's 9 million different ways of working out. But if we look at the physiology of a human being, it's very straightforward. There's 2 components to it, and you'll be not very surprised because this is what the fundamentals of Unbreakable Mind is based on, right? And the first one, anyone wants to take a guess? What's the number one biggest predictor, or one of the 2 biggest predictor of longevity and health when it comes to workout?
Got much.
Like the cardio.
So we call it VO₂max. Do you know what that means?
No.
How efficiently your body uses oxygen.
Basically, so it's a measurement of how much oxygen you can take up from the air and use it to feed your muscles. Right? So it correlates really. This is what when people talk about cardio, this is the number you want to increase. Right? So that's one of the huge pillars. Like if you have this, like people who live a long time and who are really athletic, they have a high number here, right? So that's a huge one. And then you can translate it into cardio or the ability to, move for a long time or whatever. Okay, what's the second one?
Strength, and some people say grip strength.
So we say strength here, and strength, muscle mass, like the what's called, not the circumcision, but the circumference is what it's called, of a muscle directly correlates to the work it can do. So right, if you have more muscles, you are stronger. There's neurological things to it as well, but it correlates to how big your muscles are. So building muscle mass is really important, right? And strength is a component of that. So that's it. Thank you for today, and I'll see you next week. That's literally it. We just do this. We use VO₂max, and we build strength. That's it. As long as we do these two things, we will increase our lifespan, or we will do the things we can to increase our lifespan. Right? And for some of us, it might be like a negative to hear that it's a never-ending journey, right? It never stops. There's no, it's like, oh, I've reached this limit now, and I can just relax for 10 years and wait, or I'm strong enough so I could just relax. No, it's just continuous work, right? So that means we need to just learn how to love it, or learn to enjoy it, because it's just, we realize that this is just part of our lives. Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Or actually, we don't even have to enjoy it. We just have to get it done, to be honest. I
All
still
right.
don't enjoy before going out, but then, yeah. Okay, I'm going to make it super simple again. So how the heck do I improve my VO₂max? What do I need to do?
And this cardio exercises, no?
Yeah, exactly. But is there a certain type of it? Is there a way that I should perform it? You know?
I think what you were saying last time is that if we increase the intensity over shorter intervals, it's a bit more efficient than if you are working with a lower intensity over longer intervals. And that's movement.
Exactly.
That's basically movement, I think.
So you want to take your, look at this. I even have my heart rate monitor on right now because I'm going to run later. But what you want to do is you want to have, let's put it this way. Let's see, you can see that. So let's say we have time on this axis, and then we have effort or heart rate. You can see that. So what we want to do is we want to accumulate as much time as possible in a high level as possible. Right. So in some senses, that can mean we do a really high effort for a short period of time. And in some senses, it could be a medium effort for a longer time. And this is what turns into our interval training. This is why we do the Unbreakable Mind VO₂max sessions. And that's also why they're scheduled in the morning of the first day of the week, right? You see the pattern now?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like the most important task is positioned at the absolute beginning of it. Right? And the intervals look something like this. Either we do like a 4 minute, like a little bit longer with lower intensity, or we do shorter ones, which is really high intensity, but short. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is how we're piecing all of this together. But the idea here, the only thing you need to remember is you want to accumulate as much time at a high effort as possible. And then you can combine it whatever you want.
Mhm.
So maybe it becomes something like effort times time or effort plus time. Accumulate that, right? And do notice that I have not spoken anything about CrossFit or yoga or rowing bike or running or cycling, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Your heart doesn't give a crap. It's like, peace out. This sucks. Doesn't matter if you're on a bike or running. The thing that does matter, that is worth remembering, is that if you are used to something, you're used to running or you're used to whatever, then your body will adapt to that. You'll be more efficient. You'll be more mechanically economical, which means you'll be able to use more of your heart rate. You use more of your cardio activity. So for example, if I haven't run for 2 years, if I go out and run, chances are my legs are going to break down first before it attacks my heart. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's the only thing to matter. But after that, like Robin, you do the rowing things. I don't know, Maria, which you do the walking. And for me, I
Yeah,
like
the
the
walk.
assault bike. Yeah. So it doesn't matter as long as it targets your heart rate and your heart rate goes up and you stay up there as much as you can.
Yeah.
So now you know, like if you're going to do a workout and you're striving to improve VO₂max, then you just need to think, okay, how the heck do I get my heart rate up as high as possible for as long as possible? That's it. And whatever that means for you, that's what it means. Okay, cool. Let's have a look at the strength component. All right. So I told you before that it's a big component of strength is just muscle mass. Like the more muscle mass you have, the more things, the stronger you are. That's a rough one. But the circumference of your muscle is the one thing they have been looking at when they look at longevity and health. If you have bigger guns or bigger muscles, then that is one thing that predicts longevity and health. And the same thing here is very exciting. That's an arm, by the way, if you don't know what that is. It's an arm and it's big.
Yeah.
And the same thing here is like when I grew up, I was told that, you got to do this amount of reps for muscle hypertrophy, like growing muscles, or you got to do this many reps for endurance, or you got to this and this and this. And it turns out later and later on now that it doesn't matter that much. Maybe if you're an elite Olympic athlete, then reps tend to be more and more interesting. But when it came to building muscle mass and stuff like that, the reps didn't have that much. But the load had, resistance had. So if you're using very small weights and you're just flopping around like your little chicken wings, it's not going to do anything. Like that's why resistance training is so important. So the way to build this strength is by resistance training. Right? Yoga has some beautiful benefits. Doing the plank has some good benefits, but it seems like nothing can really compare with resistance training or weight training. It just seems like that is one of the components that we need to do.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that in your everyday life in some way, then that needs to be incorporated. And once again, it can be done very simple. The rule you want here is something that we call 80% repetition max. That's where you want to get up to. So let's just put it this way. So, I'm getting out of space here. I'm just going to cheat. 80% of 5 repetitions max. So let's say this pen, the most times I can lift it is five times. After that, I'm going to lose form and I'm going to be, hunched over and I just don't have the strength for it. So if I can lift this 5 times, that would be my 5 repetition max. That's what we call it. So when you're working out, you want to be 80% of that, right? So if this weighs 100 kilos, when I'm working out, I want to get up to 80%, so 80 kilos. That will be a workout. So that means you're going to have to lift pretty heavy stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that seems to be some type of number that if you can hit that, you get all the benefits. There's a bunch of tweaks and things to do that, but in general, the rule number 2 would be, let's see here, to engage as many muscles as possible, right? So if you can do a full body squat, or you can do those exercises that has like a full, you using as many muscles of the big ones as possible, that will be more beneficial than not. But it seems like 80% of 5 repetition max is what we should go for. As a good solid rule. Are you with me so far?
Yeah.
And a really important thing here to do this safely is the form, because there's a difference between setting an Olympic record, right? If you're going for an Olympic record, you might be willing to sacrifice some pain or some injury because you're setting the world record. But if you're working out, as soon as your form starts to suffer, maybe you don't have that athletic posture, instead, your shoulders crumble down like this, that's when you're out. That's when you're done. So when I say 5 repetitions max, it means you have a proper form and you're doing them correctly. So they don't have to be super hard, right? But that's a really good one to think about. Any questions so far?
No. So far it's easy. I mean, difficult part is start doing it.
Yeah, exactly. But I think once you have this foundation, it's like, this is how it fits together, then you can play around and try to find things that makes this fun. If you find an activity that does this for you, I mean, it could be, maybe you like to play, I don't know, whatever, squash or something. You can turn a squash exercise into a VO₂max training, right? You just have to have that mentality that you're not here to save energy. Instead, you're going to chase the ball unnecessary. So you'll get your repetitions within that game. Because now you have the intention of playing. You're not playing just to have fun. You're also playing to live a long and healthy life. Right? That's a huge difference. It's a game changer, right?
Yeah.
You're also going to walk around in everyday life now realizing, you know what? I can take the elevator up, but I could also carry these boxes, the 7 floors it takes to get me up, because I know having strength and being muscularly fit will increase my chances of having a long, healthy life. Right? So it's this complete shift of mindset from staying away from things that are heavy to saying, oh, wait, here's a little gift. Here's a little gift to me where I can improve.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what else I want to talk about here. Yeah, okay. So I would say this is the 80%. Like if you understand this concept here, then that's yeah, you come really far, and you'll know more than, I would say, 80% of the population. Because a lot of people will make this incredibly complex. You have to do CrossFit and you have to do this weird lift and you have to do all things. But it all comes down to these 2 functions. And it's very intuitive as well, I think. I think a lot of people understand, like, oh, you got to have cardio. And if you are stronger, that's probably useful. Look at that, very complicated. But now you've also learned that how to improve these things. You've learned that if I spend more time with a higher heart rate, I will gain VO₂max, and that will be a predictor of me living a long life. And if I lift heavy shit, and I do that for a few repetitions, I will grow muscles, and that will help me live a long, healthy life. Like, extremely complicated physics here. But what I've hopefully done is I've taken everything that is out there on the interwebs about, running and jumping and CrossFit and everything, and I boiled down it to 2 small things, which you know how to manipulate now. So now you can choose your effort. You can choose whatever thing, and if you'll see here that, okay, where does yoga, for example, fit in here? Like, it doesn't really. Not saying yoga, not saying it's not good for us, but it probably won't help us do any of these. Right?
Nope, none of them. It's good for stretching, but for none of these 2.
And you'll also notice that I'm not saying yoga is easy. It's definitely not easy. Like, everyone has done one of those like weird things for 20 minutes. Like, it's super hard. But hard doesn't necessarily mean it has the benefits we want, right? There are other benefits, of course, but I think when you look at the activities you choose in your life, if you have these 2 like little glasses on and you see, hey, is this going to build VO₂max or strength? And if it's not, then it's probably not one of the most important things to do. And if it's not one of the most important things to do, you probably shouldn't do it first. You should probably do it more as a fun thing later on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that, I have to go out here and do extremely hard exercises. But what you can do is that instead of, going on that bike or going on the walk, maybe you can increase the effort a little bit so you can get home earlier and get the benefits, right? But the thing that most people do, and this is the most common thing, is that, so for example, let's see, so in running, you can often, there are different ways to calculate your effort. So if you say that number 1 is a low effort and then you have high effort, according to this, you would want to spend a lot of time here. Right? A lot of time would be spent up in zone 3 to get the VO₂max, right? Or you would spend a lot of time in the low effort because you will have maybe recovery, or you will have, that endurance training. So now we're getting a little bit more granular, but I hope this makes sense. But what do you think people do? Where do you think people spend most of their time when they go run? 1, 2, or 3?
2.
I think medium. It would be somewhere in 2.
What did you say, Robin? Exactly. A lot of people spend their time here, most of the running. So you don't get the benefits of the VO₂max, but you also don't get the benefits of doing a long endurance run. Right? And that's the trick here, to separate these 2. So what I want you to see is like, we want to separate and work the skills that we want to work. Either we do a VO₂max session here, or we do a strength session. There's a ways to combine this and make this fancy stuff, but if you just want the benefits and you want to minimize the time you're training, you just want to pick one of these 2 and just do that thing, right? You can get incredible strength benefits in just 30 minutes if you just keep doing that thing. And the same here, a VO2max session that is good, it's 30 minutes long. Like if you're a high quality VO2max session, takes around 30 minutes, including warm up, everything. So, but if you spend your time here in the middle, you might do an hour, but you won't really get any of the benefits. So that's when you see maybe like the body pump exercise. They're very famous at the gyms, right? You lift some weights and you do like 40 repetitions and you get really tired, but you haven't worked out this one and you haven't worked out this one, but you're really tired. So people go home and think they have had this great physiology change, but they most likely haven't.
That's interesting.
Okay, because
It's really interesting.
But I also want to say that if you get to choose between doing nothing, doing one of those body pumps, yoga, whatever, then obviously doing something is worth more than nothing, because just by doing some type of activity, doing some workout, you'll get benefits. But most of us, we have tight on time and we don't want to spend our time live training. We just pick one of these two and we do it. So that's why on Mondays we have the VO2max session, and then on Thursdays, or we'll see where it ends up, maybe Saturday, we do the strength sessions. And I'm still trying to figure out how to incorporate this into Unbreakable Mind, how we can make this a more part of it. This one is easy. This one's a little bit more tricky because we want that resistance training. That's very important for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions so far?
No, nothing for the moment.
Perfect. So let's see here. Okay. Computer. That is the main stuff that I want to talk about. If you, I don't know, if you've written this down or you made some notes or you take a little screenshot of this thing, then I think it's highly valuable to get back to this and remember what the heck we were talking about.
It is.
Because from this, everything else can be, you can create your own workout so you can understand what you're doing, but you know that these are the two things that you probably want to aim for to get done. If you want to go to the gym, you want to make sure you get up here to 80% of your 5 repetition max. That means you can't do those like two little dumbbells. That doesn't give that resistance that you want. Right? All right.
Would mean possibly that doing the body weight stuff that I've leaned on would be very hard to figure out, other than I've used it because I could at least gauge, well, I can't do it this way. I can adapt it this way and work on it. And at least know I'm going somewhere, but I can't gauge it other than it's progress somewhere. But I can't gauge it. And it's only relative to your own body weight. It's not.
So as far as I understand, I haven't, and this is up to you, Robin. You got to talk to your own people there to figure it out. But I don't think I've never heard anyone, I've never read anything that would say that weight training would be bad for someone. Like no matter the condition, no matter the health status, no matter what, it doesn't seem like lifting weights is ever bad for you. It just seems like you have to adapt the weights you can lift or the ways you can lift them. But it seems like resistance training is incredibly important for us. And it makes sense, right? Humans are so good at adapting. So if you just present obstacles or we present resistance in any way, your body will just learn to deal with it. Right? If you do it progressively, if you do too much, you get overwhelmed and you break down. But if you do that step-by-step little thing, your body just figures things out. It's incredible. It's the same thing with the mind. If we do it strategically, we do it structurally, we take the step by steps, our body is able to freaking endure anything, and so is our mind. So,
Well, if I figured it out with the body weight exercises carefully, it should be able to be figured out with dumbbells or other things, right? I just used what I had because I gave up on the gyms. And you got your own body.
And you what? What was the last thing you said?
And you have your own body. So I figured I'd work with what I had and give up with people's machines.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways to use your body so it turns into resistance. I mean, if I stand on my head now and I do, pull-ups or push-ups like that, of course, it's going to give me a lot of load and stuff. But when it comes to using your body, like you would want to add some weight. Like if I'm doing squats here now, great. But if I can add weight, that's better.
That's, yeah, with squats and stuff, I've always picked up some type of something.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And you could do that with every joint you have. And as long as that works, as long as you can keep the form and do it proper technique, then you're fine. Right? As soon as you lose the form, you lose the technique, you got to either drop the weight or take a rest.
Okay.
That's the key one. And if you can't do it with the weights, with proper form, then you do it without until you can do it with weight.
Okay.
But form is the thing that tells us that we're able to do it. It lifting the load off the ground can be done with shitty form, right? But that means you can handle it and you risk injury. So proper form is the way to go. That's how we know we can handle the exercise.
Okay.
So the last thing that I want to speak about, or that I want to share with you, and I've said this before, but it's such an important concept that I think it's worth mentioning again. Have I ever spoke with you guys about optimization? Optimized?
Nope. No. Or maybe, but yeah.
So it's optimized versus what's on the other
yes.
side of optimized? Yeah, exactly, right. So what's the definition of optimized again?
That it's valid within a defined scenario. So it's optimized parameters for a particular case, while robust is like working no matter what.
Exactly, right. So optimized works extremely well when things are the way they usually are, because you can predict the surroundings. Do we think that life is very predictable and very like it just happens over and over the same way? No, it tends to be more on the chaotic side, right? So when people say, hey, I'm going to optimize nutrition, I'm going to optimize my workouts, I'm like, dude, you're not really preparing for life because life needs robustness. And I just want to put that in front of you again so you have that in the back of your mind, because I do believe that we should aim for things that are robust. And that's why I've tried to make the systems as simple as possible, because whatever you choose to do tomorrow or tonight, you just know, oh, I could do VO₂max or I could do strength. It doesn't really matter how the heck I do it, as long as I do one of these two. It's a very robust system. An optimized system would be that I have this scenario of exercise that I do every Wednesday, and today I'm going to increase by 1% weight, and I need to use this machine, and I need to use those weights, right? Which means if I miss that machine, or that thing is broken, or today I need to do something different because life came in between, then my system kind of breaks down. But on the robust side, you can adapt. You know that, okay, I need to get some heavy weights, or I need to get some high effort for as long time as possible. And that you can do almost everywhere. Here you can go running or walking, and here you could pick whatever up you have in your house and you do whatever you can at the time you have, right? So that's what I want to bring here, robustness. And the beautiful thing about robustness is that it creates consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't break down. And what the heck comes out of consistency?
Progress.
You do something over. Say it again.
Progress.
Exactly. Progress. And the beautiful thing about progress, if it's actually progress, it's inevitable to get to whatever goal we set out. It's just a matter of time, right? So then we can start, if we know that this is the thing, something that is robust means that we can do something consistently. And if we do something consistently, we will get to the goal sooner or later. Now we can start talking about, okay, how can I make this faster if that's what I want, right? But it all starts with consistency, because that is that one step, that 1% every freaking single day, to take that little action. And you can only get those one little step every day if you have something that always works. So when I speak with if you're elite level at something, or you can't really see that, but when you're elite level at something, it's a different game, because life is adapted around that single thing. Whether it's in the military or if it's in an athletic endeavor, your life is adapted around this thing, which means you can optimize. But for the rest of us, we have other goals in lives, right? So that's an important one I just want to shove in there. And I will keep reminding all of us about this because it's so easy to get into the details of figuring out I need exactly this, and then it just breaks down. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. All right. I think that's what I want to do. It's already 1935. Time goes so fast. Like so much fun things. What were your thoughts about this one? What do you think?
Oh, it's
It
clear.
makes it simple enough to remember it.
Yeah. Simple enough to remember. Okay, that's good. What does this mean for you guys in your lives? How will you use this for something?
It really makes sense of why the DDPY got me to where I am and why I'm frustrated with it that I'm not going any further than where I am. And I started picking up the walking and doing other things, going, it's fun, but because I'm not allowed, they've got all these like bands you're supposed to pump up around your arms and things instead of lifting heavy weights and stuff. But if you've had cancer, you're not supposed to do it because they make hormones circulate that or that are pro-cancer, and so you can't do that. And
Got it.
and it's like, okay, that means I need to start going and doing heavy weights. I can't go do what they're doing
Yeah.
that way. But this makes a whole lot of sense because it got me active. It got me to the point my body was working well enough. It rehabbed me.
Yeah.
But now I need to be doing something different.
Yeah, I mean, specific problems might require specific solutions. It might, but I think the foundations will still be the same. Like if you have this thing going on in your life, then I think adding other things on top of it, it could be worth trying out. But I think if you trade this here for something else, then I think you might be taking a big chance. You might be rolling the dice on things.
Yeah, if I just continued doing that, I wasn't getting the cardio. If I was only doing that, I was not getting the cardio. If I was only doing that, I was not getting any stronger. And I couldn't do their bands around my arms and legs the way they wanted. And I was like, okay, this isn't gonna work. Not as a total package the way they do it. It feels good.
Maybe a machine or two at home. I don't know, like some sort of a mini home gym.
Not in this tiny apartment. There is a rec
Yeah,
center
that's
near
fair.
me. I'm in a very tiny apartment. There's a rec center near me. I can join, and it's cheap. And there's a senior center that's they have a few dumbbells, but they've got some dumbbells there, and I can see what dumbbells they have there.
Yeah.
And if
And
they
I
don't
think
have dumbbells, I can go to the rec center and join there.
And I think gyms are excellent because they're set up for you to do these things. But I also don't want to make sure that you don't need the gym, right? It just makes everything more simple and more easy. But if you can't access that for whatever reason, like the basis is that if you lift heavy shit, you will get stronger. And if you become stronger, you will live a longer, healthy life. Like we just got to remember that thing, right? So sometimes that means taking a box around here or putting it on our shoulders and doing squats or whatever it is. Yeah. Because if we can get up here to lift some heavy stuff and if we can engage more joints, then
I could throw stuff in a backpack.
Yeah, exactly. I've done that plenty of times. That's usually how we do it as well. We have, when you're out in the field, you don't have access to a gym, obviously, but you still want to stay fit. So you just pack your backpack with whatever you have, and you can use it for lifting or pushing up above your head, or you can do your rows. It doesn't matter. Your body doesn't care if it's like a $5,000, expensive equipment, or it's just a bag of rocks. Great.
Well, then I could do that right now. I've got plenty of canned food.
Yeah, there you go. Water bottles usually like a
I
big,
could do that for a while because I'm not driving much. I can do canned goods in the and not worry about driving.
perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. No worries. Of course, that's why I'm here. Let's see. Did I have anything else that I wanted to say? No. I mean, I always have more things to say, but I gotta
Yeah.
limit myself sometimes. Yeah. Unless there's any more questions, I'm gonna check out, and I'm gonna actually go do this thing to get home, to run home with my little backpack and stuff. So that's cool.
You run with the backpack.
Enjoy.
Yeah, I have this little thing here, and I just put all my computers and everything, and I go running. It's very satisfying because I don't have any transportation. I never take the bus or anything around here. I just take the backpack and I run where I need to go. Great. And yeah,
Okay.
cool. Thank you so
Okay.
much for hanging out. Let's see
Thank
what's
you.
up next. Next week, we're going to continue in this topic. We're going to talk about what we got. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit how you can put this in, all this information, how the heck you make something out of it. So you have your own little training plan, or you have your own idea of how do I use this, because now it's maybe just information, but now we want to turn this into something. So that will be the next topic. Take this thing, create something that works for your life using a robust system, which practices VO₂max and strength. Does that sounds good?
It's good.
Perfect. And then I'll see you next week for that bad boy. And yeah, it's fun. We're off. Things are happening.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day or night.